Welcome to the podcast Real Estate Matters. I'm Amit, your host, bringing you a wealth of expertise as a realtor, real estate investor, and coach. In this podcast series, we are embarking on an enlightening journey through the complex world of real estate. Each episode is carefully put together to equip you with the knowledge and insights necessary to make confident decisions in real estate. So whether you're a first-time home buyer, an experienced investor, or just intrigued by the dynamics of real estate, join me and my special guest in each episode as we explore crucial topics, share valuable tips, and embark on a journey towards financial gains through real estate. So let's start to navigate the exciting world of real estate together.
Hello and welcome. Welcome to the special podcast. This is your podcast, Real Estate Matters. My name is Amit, and today's podcast is going to focus specifically on pre-construction. There have been lots of projects that are active. There are lots of marketing going on. There are lots of questions that I'm getting about pre-construction and whether it's the right thing to do. What are the dangers? What are the risks and the benefits associated with that? And that's the reason I decided to do this special podcast on pre-construction. Now, the idea here is that this condo, this this house that you want to buy as a pre-construction, first of all, you need to understand that you are dealing with the builder directly. Majority of the times you will be dealing with the builders directly. And that's the reason that it is good to have that brand new project. It's amazing to have that. When you walk into the house, that new smell, fresh smell of the house is really a nice feeling. And it's good from that perspective. All the appliances that you have an opportunity to buy for yourself, customize the design. But it also comes with a lot of risks, a lot of dangers, which if you're not aware of these, then they will hurt you. They have the potential to cause a lot of damage to your financial as well as mental stresses get added if you're not familiar with what are the dangers and how to actually deal with them. So today's podcast will focus on educating you about the dangers. And I'm going to list the 5 most important, something that I come across all the time when I'm talking to my clients, which I'm going to highlight some of them today. And you will see that you will definitely get nuggets about pre-construction while you're in this episode listening to me. But in the meantime, I want to encourage you to subscribe, share, follow me on this platform, as well as if you have any questions, put them in the comment section and I will make sure to go back and answer them for you, because it's really a vast topic and it's just the beginning for you to start to understand this world of pre-construction. So today I'm focusing on 5 most important things that you should know, 5 dangers that if you're not aware of these, and you may fall into this without realizing how dangerous they are. So I want to educate you on that and give you some solutions as to how you can prevent from getting into this trap and making the right decisions, because it's truly an amazing thing to get into pre-construction. I'm not just talking as a realtor, but also as a buyer of pre-construction myself. I've bought a home in pre-construction, I've bought a condo in pre-construction, and those were really great experiences for me personally as a buyer. And of course, as a client, when I'm promoting a project, a particular product to you, then you will see the risk, the benefits, the not so good things about the project is what I will highlight so that you can make an informed decision. So let's get into it. But make sure that you share this podcast with people that you know, with people that you love, people that you trust, because I'm sure that they will get value out of this. And, if you do share and they get some nuggets out of it, they will definitely be thankful to you. Okay, so let's get started. So the 5 things that I want to talk about. The first thing is the timeline. The most important thing that you should know is there is a specific timeline for each and every project that you must understand. And once you understand the timeline of when that project is actually, starting up, when that project is in full swing, when the construction is going to start, and what's the potential closing date for that contract that you're putting forth with the builder. Now, these timelines are very crucial. Number one, because you need to be aware of that in terms of financing. Because depending on where the timelines are for the builder, your deposits will be structured accordingly. Now, bear in mind that different builders have different deposit structures. Some of them have a total of 5% deposits that you would need. Some builders have 10, 15, up to 20% of deposit before you actually get the occupancy of the property. So depending on what your financial situation is, what type of project, the location that you're looking for, then you can select which best suits you, which best suits your need, and take the decision accordingly. Because you need to understand the first of all the timelines. The second thing that you understand is the completion date, and just be aware of some potential delays, because there might be delays because of weather, because of some permits that your builder might be going through. So no matter what it says on the agreement of purchase and sale, you need to be aware that there could be still potential delays. And majority of these contracts mention that right in the agreement of purchase and sale. It will say that this is your closing date, but there is a potential that this may go on for another 6 months or a year and a half. They'll be very specific on that. But you need to, that's why, be aware as to what could be the potential delays and how are you going to handle those. Now, there is a regular update that you are expected to receive from majority of the builders. So builders that I deal with, that I have very good connections with, I know that they send out regular updates to their clients, letting them know where the project is from time to time. If there is a delay in the closing, then they have specific timelines where not only they should, but they have to let you know if you are a buyer of that property. So having that awareness is actually a very important thing, so that you know that, oh, you know what, the fact that I did not hear back from the builder 90 days before occupancy, that means that the project is going on the time frame that has been promised to me by the builder, because that's what the contract says. And that's the importance of knowing the timeline, so you can predict what delays are coming forth, so you can prepare yourself financially. Okay. The next thing is, if there is delays and you need to organize yourself into some temporary housing arrangements, then that also becomes a key factor for you to know in terms of timeline. That's why the earlier you know if there is any delays happening, if there are any changes happening in the dates, it's much better for you to know as early as possible, because maybe you are planning to sell the house and move into that pre-construction condo or that pre-construction house that you have bought. But if you are selling the house and your closing date cannot be changed, then you have a certain time period where you have to organize and arrange so that you are still able to move out from the current property and make some arrangement until your pre-construction condo, your pre-construction house is actually ready for occupancy. So this is the first danger of pre-construction. But if you follow through the timelines well, first of all, if you're dealing with a good builder, if you are dealing with proper communication through the builder, through the realtor, then you can minimize that risk. It's definitely a key component to have the realtor in between you and the builder, so that the communication happens through the realtor and you are in communication with the builder directly as well. But the realtor can basically work in your best interest, giving you the updates, giving you the information about any other information and updates they are getting about the project. So that's really the key to understand. Now, we have special access as platinum agents on a lot of projects that go around in GTA. We also have special connections with the builders, and that's why the updates that we get are fairly frequent. And that's the reason that I'm able to keep up with the different projects in GTA and keep the client in communication to let them know what's happening with their specific project. So that's the first thing. The second danger that can happen is regards to financial preparation. Now, as you know, when you buy a pre-construction condo, there is a clear demarcation as to what your deposit structure is going to be. So it will be clearly defined that when you sign the contract, this is the amount that you would have to pay. And then eventually over a 30-day, 60-day, 90-day period or 400-day period, they will give you a structure of payment for your deposit. Now, it's key. The key is to understand that deposit structure is already built into the contract. So there should be no variation in terms of those deposit structures. Okay, so that is a good thing, because that gives you that that preparation time, that particular expense is coming for you, so you can budget your finances accordingly. And understanding this payment schedule also helps you to plan your current expenses and also your future expenses, so that you can budget yourself, not only going for these deposits, but eventually making a successful purchase for this condo. Now, while I'm talking about the financing, the other danger that I'm talking about is also the closing costs. So if you are going to buy a pre-construction condo, let's say, 1 year from now, 2 years, or 3, 4 years from now, there are other associated costs which also apply to a lot of resale properties, which is, for example, land transfer. There are legal costs that are involved. There is also, if during this pre-construction condo period, you will be going to their offices and selecting some upgrades, right? So some of the things are included by the builder, but if you decide to do an upgrades of any of those properties, then those get added on as expense for you when you close on the property. So you should be aware that those particular transactions, those particular charges are coming through as the property comes to closer to an occupancy, as you're coming to the closing date. So these are important considerations for you. And of course, one of the common one that we don't have to emphasize, in fact, right now people are quite aware of that, is the fluctuation in interest rates. Now, this is such an important factor for you to know in terms of interest rates, that you cannot really predict what the interest rate is going to be after 3 to 4 to 5 years from now. It's just an impossible task. However, if you when you're doing your finances, when you're calculating these expenses, if you calculate according to the buffer that you can predict what it could happen, then it helps you in terms of your planning, your future purchase for the pre-construction. Now, one of the tip I want to give you here is, I have some lenders, I have some banks that I have connections with, where you can get that assurity, you can get that guarantee that as long as you approach them right now in this period while you're buying this property, they will give you the mortgage at the at the end of the 3 year period. And that's really a great feature to have on your mortgage, because as you currently saw, maybe you're aware of this, but if you saw the news currently, there were some deals that did not go through because what they paid on their mortgage 2, 3 years ago, the value of that property that they're buying today was actually not appraised at that value. So what I mean is, let's say, for example, they bought a house for $1 million, in 2020. And today, when they want the mortgage, the price of that house is not $1 million. So the bank will actually go back and say, you know what, we approved that house for $1 million, but today we don't think that value is $1 million. So we're going to give you a mortgage based on the value of the house today, which is probably 900 or 950K. And that becomes challenging for the people who are actually buying that property, because they have to come up with that extra 50K, 40K, or 100K sometimes, depending on what the bank will appraise that property for. Now, there is a way to safeguard yourself from it. And this is where experts and professionals come in, where I guide you as to what you could do in order to prevent yourself from falling into that danger. So in other words, that once you get the pre-approval, you should be assured that no matter what happens to the market, no matter what happens to your jobs, because 3 years, 4 years is sometimes a long period. And given the uncertainty, if you lose a job or if something happens to your employment status, you should still be able to buy that property and not be in an awkward position that now the closing date is coming up and you don't qualify for a mortgage. So there are ways to safeguard yourself against this danger. Talk to me, and when you're going through this purchase with me, then I'm going to guide you through the exact process of how you can totally avoid this danger and safeguard yourself from this. The third thing that I want to talk to you about is the developer reputation. Now, this is the key in pre-construction. When I'm researching any developer, before I decide to promote any project, there is some homework that I do in terms of understanding the background of this builder. And that's why you will see that there are probably 170 to 190 projects actively going on in GTA, just in our GTA area. And it's impossible to know about all the builders in that area and every single project that's going on. But what we do is we handpick the builders. We handpick the project that we want to work with. And those are the builders that we have quite a bit of high confidence that they will actually take that product to completion. because the whole idea is not only just giving you the best deal and the best amenities, the best upgrades, but to make sure that the product has a very very high chance of getting to a point of completion on time. So the majority of the builders that we deal with have that track record. That's the homework that I do for my clients, and looking at the builder history, looking at what they've done in the past in terms of completed projects, completed on time. We also look at history of the developer in and around GTA, but also wider perspective than that, as to how long has the builder been in business, what are the type of projects that they've handled, are there any legal or any other claims that somebody has made against this builder. So all these dangers have to be accounted for before you get into pre-construction, and majority of this has been taken care of by me, because I do that groundwork for you. I will check into that before we go ahead with the deal, before I suggest you sign that document, which is the final agreement. That's my homework that I will do for you. So it's an important aspect for you to consider before you sign that dotted line and buy that pre-construction, because if you don't do that, then you're huge danger of not just getting a good deal, because you might actually end up getting a good deal, but the point is, will they complete that project on time? Will they complete it within the accepted timeline that they have promised you? So that's the third thing that I want to encourage you to look at. The fourth thing, which is really a huge danger in terms of pre-construction, is understanding contracts. Now, if you have ever looked at a contract from a builder, you will see it's actually not just 3 or 4 pages as is a resale contract, but it's almost like a booklet. Okay, and the first time that I saw this, which was in 2007, when I dealt with a builder directly, I was just amazed to look at the information that exists in there. Now, the whole idea here is that that huge booklet that you see is builder specific. Okay, so the builders have worked on that contract along with their legal department to make sure that everything is mentioned in there. And as you can guess, as you can imagine, that it is favoring the builders. Okay, it is on the side of understanding the builder's perspective from each and every angle, so that the client is aware of where the builder stands in terms of that project. Now, you as the buyer of that project, into that condo, into that building, into that semi or the house, you need to be aware that it is builder specific. It is probably even builder favorable, but is it also favorable to you? You as a buyer should understand what are the clauses that are mentioned in there. Are some of those clauses negotiable? Are some of those clauses can that be tweaked in order to look for what you are looking for? The deposit structure that they've mentioned, is there any wiggle room in there? Is there any changes that can be done in order to accommodate what you are looking for? Now, all those things are done by the builder in a way that you have to negotiate with them. And we as professionals work on your behalf. We are working on your best interest in order to see to it that you're actually getting the best deal. Now, we deal with many real estate contracts, as you know. We deal with lawyers also on these areas. You should definitely have a lawyer when you deal with pre-construction, because they have another layer of expertise, that they will look at the contract with a different lens, and they can point out certain things that are mentioned in the contract, which uses legal terminology. So you may not be very well versed with it, but they will be able to break it down into easier components, smaller components, so that you can actually get what language is being used on that agreement. And once you do that, then you can make an informed decision whether you're okay with it, whether you need some tweak, or whether you're just not comfortable signing that, because now you understand what you're actually signing into. Okay, and that's the key element to understand, because once you sign that agreement, once you sign that purchase and sale agreement, then you are bound by it. So you cannot back out after understanding that during closing, or during this period that you're waiting for that closing to happen. It is only during that initial time frame that you have that you need to make a decision whether you're okay with that purchase and sale agreement. And that's why professionals like us, we help you to understand the contract, me from the side of the realtor, but your lawyer from the side of the legalities that are involved in these contracts. And these are very important documents, definitely something that you have to pay close attention to, understanding each and every clause. I know it's a huge document, but it's a very important document for you to look at. Recently, I had a pre-construction client, and they closed on a property recently here in Caledon. And one of the things that came up during the conversation was about the square footage. One of the things that came up upon was the land size that was mentioned on the agreement. Now, these pre-construction condos, and you need to understand that some of these projects are so brand new that you don't have access to where this is going to be. So you're literally looking just at a paper, and they're showing you that this is the road and this is where this project is coming. So you don't have an exact idea that you can go and actually see the property, not only the property, just even the land sometimes, because the roads are not built at this point of time. So you need to understand the specifics of the land. You need to understand, where what the floor plan looks like, and is it the floor plan that you are comfortable with, or are there any tweaks that are required, or do you need your place to face a certain way, you need a certain the entrance to be in a certain direction. All those things have to be considered when you're signing these contracts. So it's very critical that you understand that. And lastly, I want to talk to you. The fifth thing that is a huge danger is the risk of understanding the timelines. Okay, so one of the things that you need to understand in terms of timeline is when you're buying the pre-construction, you need to understand what's the market doing at the point when you buy the pre-construction. Now, you will see that when you're buying pre-construction, the prices are slightly higher than resale. So if you look at the resale happening in that area, you will see that you're paying slightly a premium as compared to if you were buying resale in that same neighborhood. However, the advantage is that when this property comes into your possession, maybe 6 months, 1 year, 2 years down the road, you're getting an absolutely brand new property with all the insurances that you're buying for it. Plus, you're also getting a warranty to carry on. So this is the advantage that you're getting. So though you might be paying slightly higher price for that property, understand that you're getting a brand new property with the warranty included for different types of things in your home. So while this thing is important, you also still need to consider what are the things that are currently available in that neighborhood. What was currently sold in that neighborhood? How much premium are you actually paying in order for you to get that property? And if you are not able to do that homework, then you will not be able to make the right decision. Because let's say, for example, you're planning to buy a condo in a certain neighborhood of a certain, let's say you're buying an 800 square foot condo. Now you should know what is 800 square foot condo being sold at that time when you're buying this property. Now bear in mind that you're not purchasing that property as of today. So the mortgage doesn't start until you get the possession of that property, which might be 2, 3, 4 years down the road. But having that idea is really important because that sets you up for success or failure. So in other words, recently I did one more reconstruction client I was helping, and when they bought the property, the pre-construction that they bought was actually exactly same price as the selling properties in that neighborhood. And that's actually one of the best scenarios to be in. Now, there is one project in Hamilton that I currently have where the prices for pre-construction are lower than resale. So it really depends on the project. It depends on what kind of property you're looking for, whether you are trying to move into that property yourself once you get the possession, or you're looking at it more from an investor perspective, because it has to meet those needs in terms of having that cash flow. If you're looking for investment property, it needs to have that convenience so that you can get renters in that property. Whereas if you're looking at it from you living in that area, then your criteria are totally different. You're looking at from proximity of not just the highways, but probably the grocery stores that you go to. If you have school going kids, then you're looking at what type of schools are in that neighborhood. So your intention of buying that pre-construction will determine what kind of project, what kind of property should you buy, whether a condo is the best deal, townhome, semi, because there are houses and semis that you can also buy under pre-construction. So those are the risks and the rewards associated, and that's a huge danger in terms of if you don't understand these things. If you think that you're buying it for an investment for now, but later on your goal is to move into that property, it may not fit into this criteria that you are right now following, because some of the areas are specifically for investing. Like for example, a project that I currently have, it's one of the best project, but it's only for investors. Like people that are buying those properties, they never have an intention to move into those properties because it's an area that is specifically made for renters. So renters will take care of the property. They will give you the cash flow that while paying down your mortgage. So it's a great project to get involved in, but it's not a project where you might say, you know what, Amit, after 5 to 10 years, I want to actually move in there myself. It may not be the strategy for you. So those are the risks and rewards that you need to understand. So here are the 5 things that we discussed today. I hope you got value out of this. In your situation, I would recommend that if you're even thinking of pre-construction, get in touch with me so I can discuss these situations with you. I can understand where you stand in terms of pre-construction and suggest you the right path to actually go forward from here. So the first thing, again, just to recap, the first thing we talked about today in terms of pre-construction, what's the best idea for pre-construction, is we talked about your timeline. Okay, what is the timeline that you're looking for? What is the timeline that the builder has, and does that fit into what you're looking for? The second thing we talked about was financial preparation. So financial preparation, not in terms of just the deposit structure, but your financial situation in terms of buying that property eventually. The third thing is the developer research. There is a huge research that needs to be done, and I give you some insights about how that research could be conducted. The number 4 was the contracts. There are huge contracts that are in place from the builder side, and how can you safeguard yourself in order to understand those contracts is the fourth thing. And the last thing is the risk and reward. So you clarifying as to why you're buying that property, understanding the risk if you're going in as an investor, and understanding the risk if you want to buy it for yourself, and how to deal with that. So as you can see, these are just the 5 basics things that I wanted to discuss with you. There are a lot more things to be considered in pre-construction, and I can basically handle pre-construction queries on a one-on-one basis, because this is really a game, not to be played alone. Okay, you really need a team of people that can work with you. So get in touch with me, and let's get into a conversation. My cell phone to connect with me is 416-627-4007, or you can email me at amit@amitrealestateteam.com, and I will be happy to arrange a consultation for you where we can go over some of the strategies that are really working well, even a couple of projects that are really hot right now, depending on what your goal is for pre-construction investing. Thank you so much for joining in. This is the special podcast, which is called Real Estate Matters. And make sure that you tune in every Wednesday at noon for this podcast. This podcast is live. And then once it transforms into Spotify, YouTube, it goes on different channels. That gives you an opportunity to listen to it again or share it with your friends at that point of time again. All right. If you want me to discuss any specific topic, any specific challenge you're having, and would like to dwell on that deeper, then let me know, and I can set up a special podcast also for that topic to help other people. This value that you received today, I'm very, very thankful that you decided to probably apply that information so that it will give you even more value. And again, I would highly, highly recommend that you share this podcast with your friends and your family, and give me feedback as to how you found this podcast, whether it was helpful, certain things that can be improved. And I'm very, very grateful for you because you decided to come here and listen to this podcast. So subscribe and comment and share this podcast, and see you next Wednesday at noon again. This is Amit Ambegaonkar, real estate agent, real estate expert, educator in the field of real estate, and I'll see you soon. Thank you.